Okay, friends, Agin Chodesh, we're going to learn B'siyat D'Shmaya. We're going to start Daf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, Masechta Nedarim. You know, Rabbi Asi, we need to market Nedarim as a skula for Ashiros. Rabbi Asi pointed out that everyone in Nedarim becomes wealthy. You know, everyone's becoming wealthy, from monkeys, from sailors, from converts, from lotteries. What? Father-in-laws. Yeah, a lot of wealthy father-in-laws are giving money. So it's a skula for Ashiros. Anyway, it's an untapped skula. Okay, so here we go. Daf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph. Hanoidim and Tamarim. Someone makes a neder from dates. Mutter b'dvash tamarim. You're allowed to have the honey of dates, because that comes out of it. Mi sisvaniyos. Somebody makes a neder from grapes that grow in the winter, which are usually not ripe. Mutter b'choymet sisvaniyos. He's mutter in the vinegar from grapes that grow in the winter. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi says, Kol sheshem taldasai kruya alav. Anytime the name of the byproduct is called by it, and you make a neder by the original, asur b'yotzi menu, you're asur in what comes out of it. So, for example, if devash tamarim is a product of tamarim, so we don't call it devash, we call it tamarim. So, anytime what comes out of it has the name of the source of it, and you make a neder from the source, you're atzur what comes out. So Tanakama says if you're neder from dates, you're mutter in dvash tamarim. However, Rabbi Yehuda says, since the dvash tamarim carries the name of the origin, so you're atzur in the dvash tamarim. If you atzur tamarim, you're atzur in dvash tamarim. If you atzur sisvaniyos, you're atzur in chametz sisvaniyos, because the chametz sisvaniyos carries the name sisvaniyos. The chachamim matirim, the chachamim allow it. They say it's mutter. So the shala is going to be, how are the chachamim any different than the Tanakama, who says mutter b'chametz sisvaniyos? Okay. Says the Mishnah, Hanoidim min atmar misisvaniyos mutter b'chametz sisvaniyos. Sisvaniyos anovim she'enim mispashlam. They're unripened grapes. V'oimdim b'mei acharif. They develop in the winter. They stay in the winter. Kol sheshem taldasai kruya alav. Kagain dvash tamarim. V'chametz sichonios. Did I not say that correctly in the Mishnah? Maybe. Oh, sisvanios. Okay, good. The Gemara, Chachamim hainu Tanakama. The Chachamim say it's mutter. So they're the same thing as the Tanakama who says mutter b'chometz sisvanios. Okay, so now the Gemara has something very interesting. Says the Holy Gemara, Ika beinayu, the difference is Hada de Tanya, that which we learned in a Braisa. Klal ze amar Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Reb Shimon ben Elazar said the following klal: Kol shadarkoi lechal, anything that you usually eat, v'derech hayotz min lechal, and you eat what comes out of it. Kugain tamarim, like dates, udvash tamarim, and the honey of dates. You eat both dates and the honey of dates. Nadar ba, if you make a neder asering dates, asur b'yotzi menu, you're asur from what comes out of it. Noider b'yotzi menu, if you asur what comes out of it, asur ba, you're asur from it. Whenever the source and what comes out of it are eaten, you're asur in both. If you asur one, you're asur in both. Kol she'ein darkei lechal, if you don't usually eat it, the derech hayotzi menu lechal, it's a derech to eat what comes out of it. Noider boy, if you asur it, ein asur ela b'yotzi menu, you only asur what comes out of it. Shlei niskavin ze ela yotzi menu, because he only had in mind what comes out of it. So what does this mean? So according to Reb Shimon Elazar, his shita is, anytime you asur something and it's a derech to eat both it and what comes out of it, you're asur in both. However, anytime it's only the derech to eat what comes out of it, if you asur it, you're only asur what comes out of it. Because you only had in mind what comes out of it. So this is going to be the difference between the Tanakama and the Rabbanim. The Rabbanan are going to go like Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Let's see if we could figure out this Ran. Let's see if we could figure out the Ran. Because basically we have to explain how there's a three-way machlokas. All we know is in the Mishnah, the Tanakama says if you're noider from grapes, you're mutter in Dvash Tamarim. Sisvanias, you're mutter in Chametz Sisvanias. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi says, no, you're Aser. And the Chamim say mutter. So what exactly is the three-way machlekes here? You ready for the Ran? Here we go. Chachamim hainu tanakami yikubenayu hadatanya klal amrav shemalazar kol shadarke lechal v'der chayotz meno lechal kagain tamarim udvash tamarim nadar bay aser b'kiyotze bay b'kiyotze bay aser bay v'chol she'in darke lechal v'der chayotz meno lechal nadar bay aser b'yotze meno kach garsinan behilchos Ramban v'hachi perushay Debaha Paleg Tanakama. Debaha Pligi Tanakama Paleg Adarab Debaha Pligi. This is what they argue on. Tanakama Paleg Adarab Shimon Elazar B'Tarvayu. The Tanakama argues on two parts of Shimon Elazar. The Svirule Tanakama, the Bein Darke Lechel, Bein Ein Darke Lechel, whether it's a dark to eat it or not, you're for sure asur in it. The Tanakama never had a shaila whether if you asur something, whether you usually eat this thing or not, you're going to be asur in it. And you're not going to be asur in what comes out of it. Okay? Tanakama holds, regardless of whether you eat the thing or not, if you asur the thing, you're asur in it, you're not asur in what comes out of it. Even if it's a derech to eat what comes out of it. So according to the Tanakama, if you asur something, you're always asur in the thing, you're never asur in what comes out of it. It doesn't matter if you eat the thing or if you eat what comes out of it. Reb Shimon Elazar Svirle, Debech Shadarke Lechal, V'derech Hayotz Mimeno Lechal, then you're asur in both. Now Tanakama didn't say you're asur in both, you're only asur in it. Uv'she'ein darke lechal, if it's not the derech to eat it, V'derech Hayotz Mimeno Lechal, then asur b'kiyotze meno, you're asur in what comes out of it. V'loi bay. Uvaha mapich leila Tanakama legamri. So in that sense, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meir is exactly the opposite of the Tanakama. Tanakama says when you asur something, you're asur in it, and you're never asur in what comes out of it. And it doesn't matter if you normally eat it, and you don't eat what comes out of it, or if you only eat what comes out of it. When you asur something, you're asur in it, and not what comes out of it. Tanakama doesn't care what you usually eat. You're always going to be asur in it, and you're never going to be asur what comes out of it. Shimon Elazar says no. If you usually eat both, you're asur in both. If you usually eat what comes out of it, you'll only be asur in what comes out of it. Presumably, if you only eat it and you don't eat what comes out of it, you're only asur in it. But Rav Shimon Elazar argues, the Tanakama argues on 2 points on Rav Shimon Elazar. Rabbi Yehuda ben Meir holds like Reb Shimon, b'darkei lechal, v'der chayotz meno lechal. Then you're asur b'shneim. Upalig aleh, he argues on him, b'she'ein darkei lechal. If you don't usually eat it, v'der chayotz meno lechal. Let's say you only eat what comes out of it. Rabbi Yehuda ben Meir doesn't make a difference. If you usually don't eat it, and you eat what comes out of it, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says, you're going to be usher in both. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar would say, you're only usher what comes out of it. V'Rabbanan basroi demasnisen, the Rabbanan at the end of the Mishnah, they go mamish like Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. When they say mutter, they're going on v'sharyusa detu koya ein darkei lecha. Their permission is going on if you don't usually eat it. The shari hu gufei, it itself is mutter. So the Rabbanan go like Rav Shimon Elazar completely. Namely, if it's the derech to eat both, they're both aser. If it's the derech only to eat what comes out of it, only what comes out of it is mutter. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira agrees to Rav Shimon Elazar, if it's the derech to eat both, they're both aser. But if he says if it's not the derech to eat it, and it's the derech to eat what comes out of it, they'll both be aser. To that, Rav Shimon Elazar says no. It's mutter. And the Chachamim say, they argue with Rav Shimon Elazar completely. The Tanakama holds that only it is aser and not what comes out of it. That's how the Ran learns this Gemara. Okay, let us proceed. Hanoider min hayayin. If you make a neder from wine, mutter b'yayin tapuchim, you're mutter an apple wine. Min hashemen, because when you say wine, you don't mean apple wine. Nobody drinks apple wine. Bin hashem, if you make a neder from oil, mutter b'shem shumshman, you're mutter in sesame oil, because typical oil is olive oil. Min hadvash, mutter b'dvash tamarim, you're mutter in honey, honey of dates, because when you say dates, when you say honey, you mean bee honey. Min ha'chometz, if you make another from vinegar, mutter b'chometz sisvanius, you're mutter in the grapes that grow in the winter. Min ha'krishin, if you make another from leeks, mutter b'kafloitais, you're mutter in this species of leeks. Min hayarak, if you make a neder from vegetables, mutter b'yarkos, you're mutter in the vegetables of the field. Why? Because all of these things, shehu shem lavai, because all these things are a description, but they're not the thing itself. Everything here in the Mishnah has an adjective that describes it. So therefore it is not when you just say the noun is not referring to that. Okay. Says the Gemara, Hanoider min Hashem v'Eretz Yisrael, someone who makes a neder from oil in the land of Israel, mutter b'shemen shumshemen, is mutter in sesame oil, v'aser b'shemen zayis, but is aser in olive oil. Ubabavel in Babylon, aser b'shemen shumshemen, you're aser in sesame oil. Mutter b'shemen zayis, you're permitted in olive oil. Makom shemis tapkin mizeh umizeh, and in a place where they use both, aser b'zeh v'zeh, you're aser in both kinds of oils. Says Gemara, Pshita, obviously, if they use both kinds of oils and you aser oil, then you'll be aser in shemen zayis and in shemen shumshemen. Says Gemara, lo tzricha. No, it's only needed to teach the following: deruba min chad mistapkin. Most use one kind of oil, and a miyad uses the other. Ma'odetema ezel basaruba. You'd think you'd follow the roiv. And therefore, if most people use olive oil, only olive oil should be aser. Kamashalan safek yisur lechumra. The chiddush is, since some people use sesame, it's at least a safek, and we say safek lechumra. Says the Ran on the Mishnah, Hanoidim and ayayin mutter b'yayin tapuchim. The kivin sheish lo shem levai, since it has a descriptive name, lo mikri yayin stam. It's not called stam yayin. Mutter b'kif lutais. It's not part. It's not a regular kind of leek. Mutter b'yarkos hasada, the stam yarek, lai mashma ela yarek gina. Stam yarek is only mashma, the yarek of a garden. Stam yarek is only mashma, the yarek of a garden, not of the field. Okay, the rest of the rounds are going on a later Mishnah? Yeah, on the later Mishnah. Says the round on the Gemara, Motor b'shem and shumshmin, the Be'eretz Yisrael ina mestapkin klal ela b'shem zayis. The land of Israel, they only use olive oil. Safek isura l'chamra, v'kiven de'ika miyuta de mestapki, but me'ahu, since there's a miyut that uses that, me'ahu mina, ika l'svuke, you could be in doubt, dilma afilu la'elu neskavin. Maybe you were mechavin for even these. Okay. I'll do a little bit more. Okay. Hanoidim and hayarik. Someone makes neder from vegetables. Then b'shar shnei shavua. In the other years of Shemitah, meaning in the first 6 years. Aser b'yarkos hagina. You're aser in garden vegetables, because those are the vegetables that you usually eat, because those are the vegetables that you planted and worked with. Umutter b'yarkos asada. But you're mutter with the vegetables of the field, because those are wild. You don't usually partake of those. Uvashvias, during Shemitah, Asr b'yarkos hasadar, you're asr in the vegetables of the field, because when you say vegetables, you mean those vegetables. Umutter b'yarkos hagina, and you're mutter in the vegetables of the garden, because during Shemitah you can't eat those, so you don't mean them. Says the Ran, Asr b'yarkos hagina, the stam yarek shagina mashma. Stam of vegetables mashma of the garden. V'lo yarek sada, not the yarek of the field. Sheyesh lo shem levai. The yarek of the field has a appellation. However, the Ran says something like that, a very interesting thing. Something that has an appellation is not automatically disqualified. It has to be a different species entirely. Because if you say, I aser wine, you're still aser in cooked wine, even though it has a name, cooked wine. Because it's wine. So it's not the appellation alone. It's the fact that very often when there's an appellation, it makes it a different species. It's not like the vegetables of the field. It's a different species. The chamra mavashla, but wine and cooked wine, chad mina ninu, it's one species. Nation is bashal, just because it's cooked, lo hifsid shemai. B'shvias aser b'yarkos hasada, im nader b'shvias, he made another during Shemitah, yev shalom shenaskavin liyarek gina. You can't say his kavanas for the yarek of the garden. Da in zoyren v'loy noitim b'shvias, we don't plant vegetables, we don't plant trees in Shemitah. So he must be elavada liyarek hasada sha'oila me'elav neskavin. His kavana must have been for the vegetables of the field that came up on its own. Okay, so Be'ezus Hashem, Nun Gimel Amud Beis. Hopefully next week. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Agin Chodesh Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan. We have an amazing shirt tomorrow night. Noach and the Mabel and Chodesh Cheshvan. Good stuff. Join us tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Sefer Avas Yisrael, the mysterious Sefer Avas Yisrael. Have a good day, everyone. Kol tov. Recording.